All right. Anyway, they started out, the first match is the I Quit match, Reigns and Uso. The main event, what they've sold the show on. And I'm sure that it won out because Paul Heyman is involved, and he's smart enough to know that even though it's ridiculous to have the match that sold the whole show on first, it was the only way that they would at least have a virgin cage. And so whatever they did would not have already been done before, or it just the similarities, or just the fact that here's the girls in the cage, here's the other guys in the cage, and now here's the big cage match. Because Paulie's a genius. I'm willing to give him the fact that if he was behind this, that the second half we're going to chalk up to poor execution. Because I don't know what... I loved the first half of this, and then they just lost the fucking plot. And I loved the package. Because remember, we were talking on the program when you told me about this a week or two ago. I said, okay, I loved the match that Reigns and Uso had before, where, you know, they established that Reigns was a heel and that Uso wouldn't quit, but that Reigns is really a dominant prick, and the way they did it. And remember, I praised that. I liked it. I said, I just don't see how they're getting a rematch out of that. Well, then I saw this package. I said, okay, I can see this rematch now. I'm still interested because Reigns is incredible. It's a believable issue, a family rivalry, Heyman's fingerprints on it, so nobody's winking and being funny. As serious as a heart attack. They did a nice angle on Raw, which we do not watch because of the fact that 98% of it sucks donkey schlongs. But they did a nice angle where they had Uso clubbering Reigns with the chair. So I'm like, okay. I'm sure they're going to do something where once again Reigns is physically dominant, but this kid won't quit, and they're going to make this fucking Reigns an even bigger heel, right? And after being shocked because it was the first match, I can say, okay, Heyman's smart enough to know the most important thing, if there's 3 cage matches, needs to be first. And the way that they started out, Reigns is dominant, and he's pacing it slow there because Uso can sell. And they were taking the shit seriously, and they didn't just go out to do cool shit. Even when Uso would have the flurry, he made the dives look reasonable. You know, because he's trying to fucking do anything he can to beat this bigger fucking badder guy. Michael Cole said at one point, oh my God, he's run him into the hell in a cell. Examine that verbiage, Brian Last. It would be running him into the cell because the match, what you undergo is hell in the cell, but you can't run someone into the hell in the cell, can you?
Anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation.
No, come on. You must admit I'm right.
Of course you're right. Michael Cole is horrible. Michael Cole.
No, I'm not saying Michael Cole. I'm saying that was an awkward, misverbaged, whatever the fuck. You run him into the hell in a cell. Anyway, Uso's selling like he's really suffering. And the hope spots that he had, if there'd been fans, they would have gotten huge reactions. And Reigns trash talking. I like that. I did make a note here. Once they should have had at least a regular match open the show to set some kind of baseline, because this was so... The first half of this was so much different from a normal match that I would have liked for people to have seen a normal match and maybe 2. I know I'm going crazy because this is sold as the main event, so there should be 2 matches on before it, but just have normal match, and then this became something different, but it's different anyway. And Reigns can sell too when he has to, and they made it plausible. To the point where the fake crowd noise was bothering me at this point, because the guys in the ring were doing such a good job. I was hearing their contact, and I was hearing their trash talking, and it would have registered even more if you didn't have that fake just white noise behind it, right? And they brought the leather strap in, turned it into a strap match, and they're whipping each other. here's where I was about to say, well, this is the best goddamn thing that we're going to see this week on wrestling television. And then all of a sudden, the fucking teeter-totter went back the other way. I haven't even asked you any of your opinion on this. We don't talk about these things beforehand. But was there a spot in this match for you that took it from, I'm liking this, to, oh, fuck, they've lost it? And tell me what it was, if there was.
You know, when I watched this match, I just kept thinking, I don't know what to make of this. I'll save my thoughts on the commentating for later on in the show. But it was atrocious. And the video package, like you said, was fantastic. It got me into seeing this. And I recognize that you do things a little bit differently when there isn't a live crowd there. And I didn't mind some of the taunting early in the match. But when the match became full-on dialogue,
yeah, okay.
I think that's the point where I was like, what is this? I've never heard as much talking during a match. And I'm not talking about Sid Vicious calling spots.
Yeah.
I'm just flat out dialogue.
The conversation,
Yeah.
Trash talking, whatever. Okay, then go back. Well, you won't go back and watch it again. But if anybody listening out there wants to go back, watch until they did the spot where Uso tried to choke Roman Reigns with the strap they've been whipping each other with, and first was so fired up about doing it, he couldn't fucking get it around his fucking head, right? He couldn't get the strap around his head. And then once they did that choke out spot, it was awkward. It didn't look that great. There was the fumbling with the strap. It killed the momentum that they weren't going at 100 miles an hour, but they had an escalating situation in their match, in their fight, in their conflict until that point. Then the Roman Reigns turned around and choked Uso out, and that killed it even worse. And then the referee was phony as a football bat, saying over and over, well, you got to say I quit. You want to say, you got to say I... And the announcers thing, and I know why they put this in, because they're trying to explain what they're doing, which their problem was what they were doing was wrong to do. Because it took it out of, these guys are actually having a pretty good, believable conflict here to, okay, the guy's completely unconscious, but he's got to come back to consciousness to say I quit before the match is over with. Now they've lost it. Now each one of them gets choked out, and they're laying there, and the referee has to repeat the same verbiage over and over in a monotone fashion with fake emotion, if that. Then Roman Reigns spends so long trying to convince Uso to say, I quit, and like you said, just full-on dialogue. At that point, what I had been enjoying and what I was going to say I was wrong about, and they should have rematched this, I started fast-forwarding. I said, let's just see when they get back in action. And I fast-forwarded to the steps, the spot where he did the drop kick on the apron to him, then he put the steps, did the drop kick to the steps to the head. And here comes Adam Pearce, bless him, and several other people in suits and officials to stop the thing. Okay, fine. That could have been fine because the guy's obviously not able to continue. But then the dramatic snail's pace of Roman Reigns closes them up in the cage and throws the steps in and puts the steps on Jey and talks to him. I fast forwarded again. Just get to something. And then finally the other Uso brother comes in and stops the murder. And Roman Reigns sits there and cries. I was fast forwarding through all of this because they lost the plot on what they were trying to do here, because they were trying to do a fucking Shakespearean dramatic scene about their family crisis rather than a believable fight over the family crisis that they had us believe, until they all tried to be goddamn thespians. And then he grabs the Uso brother and chokes him out, and Jey has to say I quit to save his brother. I'm not even as pissed off about that a guy says I quit when another guy's in a fucking hole. Because that actually, if they had continued the match that they were having up until the leather strap chokeout spots started, and instead of doing that, if they had kicked it up in a gear where Uso got another fucking flurry, and then fucking Reigns beat him down, and he wouldn't fucking quit, just like last time, but he really dug into him, have the brother come in, put the brother in the fucking hold, and have Jey finally say, I would have bought that. But what was it, 10, 15 minutes that the last part of the match was to do 3 or 4 meaningful moves, and it just fucking, it was moving at a glacial pace, and they lost what they were doing. And then Alpha and Sika came out. My God, their fucking social security numbers must be 1. When they were in school, they didn't have history. Their birth certificates were chiseled into granite. They're so old, but they're still tough. But they gave the Roman Reigns the lei as the tribal chief. That was a nice touch. But it went from a match to just dramatic reading, did it not?
It certainly did. And the pacing, it just got very slow. It took forever to get to wherever they were going. When Roman Reigns locked everyone in the cage and he gets back in the ring, there's 8 people in there, agents and referees. Why did they scatter? If they're so concerned, why don't they try to make him stop? He's going to fight all 8 of them?
Yeah, well, actually, that would have been a great spot.
Yeah, if they had done it.
Can you think about that? If everybody came in and then they're all fucking workers or former workers, if Reigns had fucking hit a spear or something on every single one of those guys, give Uso a fucking chance to recover, let him have a fucking flurry, then stop him and beat him down. And fucking, since the door has already been opened by the other guys that came in, is that they're still selling, and let the fucking brother come in and snatch him in the front face lock. They went into a finish that should have taken fucking 3 or 4 minutes, and it took 15. I don't know.
A lot of people have said that Roman Reigns is the next guy to go to Hollywood and make movies, and obviously he got his new teeth and everything. But I have to say,
Wait a minute, has he been to see Leno? I didn't know anything about his teeth. What happened to his teeth?
Well, they're just new. They're like white porcelain teeth.
Whitest teeth I ever came across.
But what I was going to say is it's like acting now. I mean, literally, this match was half wrestling, half acting.
Yeah.
And just nonstop dialogue. And that's the only word I could use for it. I think Jey Uso showed a lot in this feud. That he is, the Usos are probably underrated because so many people focus on the Young Bucks. People ignored the Usos.
Oh, good Lord. I can't imagine how anybody's focusing on the Young Bucks and haven't seen the Usos. There's no similarity there whatsoever. But, all the Samoans can work. But these guys specifically, the Reigns and Uso, have showed they can sell. Their work is good. It's just whoever is over dramatizing this thing. And that's why I've given Paul some compliments. Either this was something he laid out, but it was performance did not equate to the vision he had, or some things were shoehorned in here that he had no control over, or there was a timing misunderstanding, because I don't see how he would have thought that this was going to be an exciting thing.
And I like the end with Alpha and Sika. I just wish they had gotten there quicker. But this match... This match took so long and was so painful to get through eventually. That was why I said, I don't know how much more of this show I could watch tonight. It was specifically because of this match.
And actually, I didn't watch anything live, but in between all the various finger pointing I was doing at the people working, I watched all of it. But like you, after I watched this, I had to go do something else for a while, because I was just like, But anyway, I don't know what to say. I was really going to put the fucking thing over, I swear. But, go back. Anybody that wants to look at it now that they've heard me talk about it, go back and tell me whether looking at it until the suddenly the chokeout spot when all of a sudden drama and dialogue came in and the match left. If they'd have just kicked it up a notch and gone into a finish there, I would have thought the whole thing was great. All right.